The anime opened with a protagonist being thrown into the water by his father, who is a leader of this muscle group. His father does that because he wants his son to enter the ritual of Musubi. He thinks by doing that his son will overcome death and rise as the new leader of their group. Knowing there's no way to change his father's mind, the protagonist doesn't say anything. I think this guy is already dead inside. Before he throws his son, Yakido, into the water, his father grabs his son's necklace and tells him, "Do not fret, Mitama-sama, which is their god, will surely save him." In the water, Yakido has a flashback of how he lived his life until now. He wasn't raised as a normal kid at all. All his life, he was training all the time. Even when he walks with a girl, his father's members will come and get him. In school, no one wants to talk to him because of his father. As time goes by, Yakido starts to feel empty inside. Even when he watches porn, his eye is still completely dead. I think this guy doesn't want to be horny anymore, he just wants to be happy. Before Yakido dies, he thinks to himself, if God truly exists, how about letting him be reborn in a world without gods or religion? Then maybe he could make some friends and lead a normal life. Upon hearing his wish, the god then sends him to the other world. As Yakido opens his eyes, he sees a girl giving him a handjob. According to the book that she read, it seems like the best way to wake someone up is to give them a handjob. Well, I think it's kinda right. After that, she apologizes to him and introduces herself. Her name is Aluril and she works in this restaurant. Realizing that he got Isekai here, Yakido asks Aluril, where is the Adventurers Guild? Hearing that, Aluril thinks Yakido wants to work here in the village. So she asks him to follow her. Yakido is excited to hear that. He thinks finally he gets to kill some monsters and stuff. His excitement is destroyed after knowing his first job is farming. Yakido then gets to meet with Roy and Klen on the farm. Klen tells Yakido that he has a job for him, as he hands Yakido a dagger. Excited again, Yakido asks Klen, should he start by vanquishing some goblins? Unfortunately for him, there is no such thing in this world. Klen gives Yakido a knife, just so he can help him harvest a grape. Looking at the grape, Yakido thinks to himself, maybe they are testing the player by forcing them to do boring quests in the beginning. He then tries his best to harvest the grape as much as possible. After harvesting, Klen and Roy tell Yakido that it is nice that they harvested this much, but they actually got too much. Since they have no way to preserve this fruit, the extra will simply have to be thrown away. Yakido then thinks of an idea. He uses the extra grape that has to be thrown away to make booze. Several days have passed, and everyone in the village is grateful to Yakido. Since the booze is so expensive for them to buy, but now they can drink it as much as they want. Siluril is Aluril's older sister. They are the ones that let Yakido live in the eatery that the two of them run. One day, while Yakido was farming, he sees a guy running from a strange beast. The guy then tells Yakido and Roy to run. As the strange beast come toward them, Roy tells Yakido to leave this to him. He then takes out a book and reads it. Seeing this, Yakido is excited and surprised at the same time. He tells Roy that he didn't know that Roy actually knows magic. After reading for a few seconds, Roy closes the book and tells Yakido to run. At the cave, Yakido is angry at Roy. He asks Roy why doesn't Roy fight and what was the point of Roy reading the book anyway. Roy replies by saying in the book has a list of escape strategies and first aid procedures and all kinds of things. After that, they go back to the village. Yakido starts to think that maybe the concept of magic does not exist in this world. He then recalls of what he has been doing all this time since he got into this world. He realizes that maybe the life that he got here is not so bad after all. While Yakido's sitting alone, Aluril comes and asks him to stay here in their village forever. Yakido agrees. He then mutters to himself saying, compared to before and how life is now, maybe he can thank God for sending him to this world. Hearing the word God, Aluril asks him what is that, surprising Yakido. One day, as Yakido walks through a forest, he sees the corpse of an animal. He picks the corpse up, thinking to give it a burial. At that moment, a question comes to his mind. If this world doesn't have a concept of God, how do they bury the dead body in this world? As he thinks, Roy and Aluril come and tell him that they got worried since he wasn't in his room. Roy then whispers to Yakido, saying he heard a rumor of a terrifying forbidden book. Even speaking of it is dangerous. Hearing that, Yukito thinks, could this finally be the thing that led into the mystery of this world? He then asks Roy, what is it? Well, to his surprise, the book that Roy was talking about is a book about sex. Later, the three of them go to the imperial capital to buy that book. Roy tells Yukito to try to avoid talking to anyone from the city because their village is kind of despised. After buying a sex book, I mean the education book, Yukito sees a bunch of people getting executed in the public. Shocked, Yukito asks, what is this? Aluril then grabs his hand and drags him out of the crowd. She then tells him that in this country has what is called an end-of-life system. When the country orders it, you are to end your own life. Panic, Yukito asks, does that mean you too? Roy then replies saying no, we are kind of special. We are treated a bit differently. He tells Yukito to not worry about it. At night, Aluril comes to Yukito's room. She tells him, in the book she just bought today, there was a method for giving men more energy. After she manages to tie him up, Aluril realizes how stupid her action is. She apologizes to Yukito. She then reveals to Yukito about why people despise their village. Their village is an isolation camp. It is a place where outcasts are sent. All of the resident in the isolation camp has this mark. Anyone who fears the end of life or doesn't align with the country's ways is banished here. Aluril tells Yukito that she is very happy that she got to meet him, a person from outside who doesn't look at them with disgust. Yukito then tells her, he was also disliked. The people of this village are the first friends that he made. Aluril looks at the necklace of Yukito and calls it pretty. Yukito then gives it to her before telling her to go back to her room. The next day, Yukito wakes up to see no one in the restaurant. As he walks outside, he sees Roy lying on the floor, covered with a wound all over his body. Yukito asks him what happened. He replies saying this village is basically a dump for people the country has designated as deviants. They are not instructed to end their lives. Their lives are forcibly taken. For Aluril and her sister, that day is today. Knowing this, Yukito immediately rushes to the city. He manages to get there in a short time with the help of Klen. But it is still too late since Aluril's sister is already dead. Angry, Yukito starts to fight all of the guards. He then got stabbed by one of the knights. As he dying, he sees Aluril gets killed in front of him. The episode ended with Yukito grabbing his necklace and asking the god to save them. Upon hearing his wish, the god comes and wipes out all of the guards, saving them. If you come this far, please consider liking and subscribing for more videos like this. Thank